Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at Community Report 101 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This was published, I think, on the 3rd of October 2025. It's a very short but interesting report. And so what I'm going to do is jump straight in and then we'll work our way through and I'll talk about the various bits and pieces as we go along. So it's after a long period of silence, I finally have some good news for you. Early Start, it would be like to say a few words about it. We released the Early Start DLC in May this year. As expected, there were a few issues at the beginning. Some were technical problems and mistakes appeared, mostly due to the limited number of people and testers we had access to this content. Then there were some things we simply didn't manage to prepare properly. However, most of these are addressed quite quickly. We appreciate your patience and your feedback. Sometimes when you are too focused on less important details, you overlook the truly important. I think what I will say about this is, and I did see some people complaining about the DLC, but from my perspective, the devs did a very good job, simply because I think a lot of people who bought the DLC didn't understand that one of the big drivers for an early start was the mod community. They thought they could do everything with what was just available in the DLC. And to me, personally, I think that was a very big mistake, because no matter how hard the devs will try to plug all the gaps, there will still be lots of scope with an early start DLC, even if it's only for immersion flavor. Moving down to the second paragraph, it says, the second concern raised was about the price. Since the earlier years required quite a large number of new buildings and vehicles, hundreds of them, many players found the price a bit high, and we understand that after 8 years of continuous development, we felt a bit tired, and our original plan was to suspend the main development after the DLC. However, since the DLC turned out to be quite successful in terms of sales, we decided to expand it further for free. That's why we are adding horses into the Early Start DLC. At the same time, many of our external graphic artists are still working on the content, adding what is missing. Thank you for continuing to support the game. Again, this paragraph repeats what I've just said, that they're not kidding. There is so much variety in an Early Start, especially when you consider the eras that they go through, and especially if you go right back to 1900 like I do. So moving down to the main content of what we're going to be looking at, there's 1920 and horses for early start. Finally, we can now show you something new. Our graphic artist Voldo has finished their first of their carriages. What I will say is the 1920 seems to be an indication that there will be a 1920 start added to the game. It's not a big change, but that is the only reference in this report. So that's an assumption on my part. And what we're going to do is just take a look at the pictures as we go through. The detail on this is nice. We've actually got a driver as well, because one of the things that's missing from the horse mods, partly because of the restrictions of the game, is the fact that you don't actually have drivers. Looking at this, I would say that this is some kind of horse-drawn bus. So moving down, it says we have implemented a system where you can easily add horses into vehicle scripts, no animation needed. You can add single or multiple horses. The maximum speed and pulling power are calculated based on the number of horses. We can have also introduced stamina, as horses need time to recover their strength. This is now the introduction of stamina is quite interesting, because what we'll do is we'll just look at the pictures. You can see here, you've got an array of horse-drawn vehicles here. I like the covered wagons. It's kind of got a bit reminiscent of the wagons that got hauled across the prairies of the United States. And then we'll just go down to the next one. This is a picture. It says the vehicles that can be purchased. And we've also got an example of a road vehicle depot here. And now I'm not sure if you can see this, but you see there's a kind of horse head where it says 2. And I'm assuming that this is going to be a count of multiple horse wagons. So if there's a 4-horse vehicle in here, it would say 4. And then on the right-hand side, you can see we got a horse-covered wagon, horse passenger. So that's looks like there. Got a little concrete hauler, horse crane. So in many ways, these are replicating the horse-drawn vehicles from Novu's mod, and it'd be quite interesting to see how this actually interacts with that mod. And what we're going to do now, so we're just going to look at the next picture. Now this is a example of the horses moving, and what we got here is instead of the fuel dial, we've actually got the stamina, and then just below that we've got the indicator of a maximum speed. Now the speed is 21 kilometers an hour, open hole. Wow, the 0.9 tons of steel. These don't haul very much. Yeah, so I'd be very interested to see how this actual stamina works. So as we've and of course down here it says there we've also added a maximum speed mode for and consume stamina faster, but an ideal time for jobs that need speed but not too frequent. Yeah, so I can see that a maximum speed could be useful for a firefighting vehicle, because obviously you want the horses to get there and they have plenty of time to rest after they fought the fire. What other ways you would use it? Yeah, I mean, it's got options, and so we'll just look at the next picture. I'd say that this is a road crane of some kind. Actually, again, we've got the driver, a couple of horses. They don't have any tack, but that's so fair enough. I do like the construction there of the way the crane works. Oh, this one looks pretty cool. Actually, this is obviously a bus that goes in there. Like the effects on the spokes. One of the downsides of this is we might actually lose the trafficators on the back of it. And I'm not exactly sure what this would be. It's got a kind of pickaxe and thing on the side of it. Then, so moving down to, what would be the last paragraph? It says, meanwhile, Rob has started working on buildings for horses. These will include exclusive facilities such as horse hospitals, horse construction offices, and infrastructures like feeders, knackers yards, scrapping facilities, and stud farms for breeding, and carpenter's workshop for manufacturing carriages. We will show you the new buildings as the functionality of their report. Now this is quite interesting actually, because it says horse facilities, horse hospitals. Yeah, well, that's that would be the repair bay, wouldn't it? Horse construction offices. So it looks like there will be a dedicated construction office for horses. Then it says infrastructure like feeders. Is that going to be like a rest stop where the horses go to replenish? And the question is, would that be the same as Nova's mod, which will use crops to recharge rather than, I mean, that would be quite useful actually if the feeders required crops, but the horses consume the crops actually at the feeder itself, and then that replenished the stamina. That would make sense actually, guys. Knackers yard, scrapping facility for horses, stud farms for breeding. Now that's interesting, because does that mean that you would have to breed the horses, which would then have to be part of the construction for the workshop carriages, or would it be that you would have to join the two together? I'm looking forward to see how they actually do that, because it could be fun actually, because then you could actually have custom horses. And then the final one here is that can't be a snowplow. It's got kind of what looks like a because at the moment we don't have snowplows for horse-drawn snowplows. It says when. Now is the big question. When will this be available? It will be released this year. Thanks for your attention, comrades, and have a nice weekend. So it's going to be out before Christmas. That's a bit unfortunate from my perspective, because I'm in my current Let's Play. I'm actually past the horse phase. I'm not going to say too much now, but I'll have a think about it and see. Depends on when this comes out. I'd be very interested to see if it actually goes into the beta test branch in Steam. So what I might do is a short kind of fun series just to see how the horses and carts work. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave it. Any questions, any opinions, feel free to drop it into the video description. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.